guys with my experience on getting a divorce. So I got married for the first time at 21 or 22. So it was like 2011 or 2012. So I married a guy. I'm not gonna go into detail on why we got divorced, but I'll just say that Connecticut was a very rough time, and we are not compatible. So I told him that I was just gonna go see my family for a little bit, and and that would be that. And I remember getting in the car and knowing in that moment that I would not be married to him after that. So I got in the car and I drove to my family. At the time I stayed with my mom for a while, and then I stayed with my grandmother for a while because I didn't have anywhere to stay. And then I started helping my grandmother with her lunch business, and she kind of like talked to me, and she talked to me a lot, and I felt like she really built me back up. She brought me back into a place where I actually like loved myself, and I didn't feel guilty about who I was, and I didn't feel guilty about anything that had happened, because either way, whether you are the cause of a divorce or you are not the cause of a divorce, you still feel a lot of emotion and guilt and shame, and you don't want to tell people that your marriage didn't work. Like, it's very intense. It's a very solemn moment. And I just remember getting there, and she really, my grandmother is like one of those people where she doesn't tell you what you think you should know. She just talks to you, and then somewhere in that conversation you learn a lesson. So in the end, I decided that I did not want to be in my hometown. It's a very small town, and it hasn't been for me for years. Like, it's just not for me. So I started applying for jobs, and in the process I found one job, and it was for a leasing agent. And at the time I knew that it really was not going to be enough money for me to be able to pay my rent, but I needed to take a step to get out. I got the job under the stipulation that I would be working basically against another leasing agent for whoever gets the permanent position. So I understood that whenever I got in there, that I was gonna have to put in a lot of work to make sure that I stayed there. Like, I was gonna have to, bust my butt to make sure that I got as many leases in and, learned as much as humanly possible while I was there. So I show up for my first day of work, and my boss at the time says to me, "Hey, so I got a job somewhere else, so I am going to leave. Today's my last day." And I was like, "Ah." Before he actually put in his resignation, he asked me if I needed a place to stay. And I was like, "Yes, I need somewhere to stay." And he was like, "Well, that's great, because I need to get rid of my apartment." And I'm like, "What? Like, this is crazy. This is crazy." So he said that he needed to get rid of his apartment, and I ended up taking his apartment. The big issue there was that I did not have the money to be able to pay for this apartment, but I knew I needed somewhere to stay, and he actually paid the rent for I think it was like 2 weeks left until the end of the month, and he paid the rent. That weekend, I actually drove back to my hometown, and I packed up all the stuff that I had, which honestly was not much, and I put it in my car, and then I drove all the way back. And again, like I said, I still did not have enough money to pay for this apartment. So my mother actually lent me my first month's rent. And I just remember crying so hard, like so hard, because I had no idea what I was going to do. So she paid for my first month's rent, and then on my first check I paid her back. And after that, I think it was like a week span, the next week I was starting school. And then I remember a little bit longer into me working at that place, my regional manager actually was working as the manager. So I just remember telling her one day, I'm gonna be your manager here. And it took a couple months, but I worked my butt off while I was going to school, and I was able to move into that management position. So I moved from a leasing agent to a manager, and then in that same year I graduated with my bachelor's. So the big point here is that life is not over after a divorce, and there's just so much more to life after divorce. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thank you so much for watching. Make sure that you subscribe and give a big thumbs up to this video. And if you've ever experienced divorce or pain or shame, please, please, please put it down. If you're comfortable enough, put it down in that comment section, because I want us to just have a good community of people who actually care for each other. So I love you guys.